Welcome to the SportsPro podcast.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the SportsPro podcast. I'm your stand-in host, Tom Bassam, the digital editor here at SportsPro, filling in for the far more accomplished Owen Connolly whilst he takes a well-deserved break. I promise I won't take up too much of your time. I'm just here to introduce an interview that one of our writers, Ed Dixon, did with the Chief Executive of the Portuguese Football Federation, Tiago Craveiro, earlier this week, ahead of the Champions League's restart in Lisbon. Ed spoke to Tiago at length about a manner of different subjects, but rather than let me bluster on for too long, I'll just kick it straight over to Ed.
You're listening to the SportsPro podcast.
Tiago Craveiro, Chief Executive of the Portuguese Football Federation. Welcome to the SportsPro podcast.
Hi guys, thank you for inviting.
No problem at all. I imagine it must be things must be pretty busy for you at the moment.
They're always time to share some ideas.
Well, we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we're speaking on the Monday, and the Champions League gets underway in Portugal on the Wednesday. What's the mood like at the moment in the country ahead of the event?
I would say responsibility to deliver it properly, to save the most popular competition on the planet football-wise. And so that's mainly what we are trying to achieve, me and all the team and UEFA, of course, to deliver it with responsibility. And responsibility is a strong word because we all know that fans will not be on the stands as we would like them to be. So from players to coaches to organizers, the main word is responsibility. Deliver it properly and make fans, at least at their homes, happy with some of the best football in the world.
And you're of course heavily involved already with UEFA through your role as an administrator for the competitions committee, among others. Can you describe the process and your involvement that led to UEFA opting to host the Champions League in Portugal?
It was clearly and obviously a UEFA decision. So I think that mid-April we were all not even today. We are not 100% sure of almost nothing. So back in April, the question was to try and do as many matches as possible. And at that time, we didn't know if national competitions, the leagues would resume or not, and if we could save the major competition club-wise in the world. So it was mainly to think, and I think that UEFA managed to do it. So to think outside the box of the way club competitions are developed with home and away matches. We're all based on that model. And in times of exception, I think UEFA did a pretty good job delivering a final tournament that, from all the dozens of matches of the Champions League, takes 6 matches out. But without those 6 matches, the competition can be resumed. So it's, of course, we shared that idea. And as the president said, apparently we managed to be the first ones to think about an idea like this. And obviously that without a good health situation in the country, we could have all the ideas that we wanted, but nobody would obviously come. So when both things got together, it was clear for us that we could manage to do it.
Yeah, and on the point you made about complying with health and safety regulations, were there any concerns about hosting the tournament after the spike in COVID-19 cases in Lisbon at the start of July?
Concerns we all have, of course, but we had, Portugal and other countries. We the league resumed here, so FPF was the link organization between the government, the health authorities, and the clubs. So everything went quite well. The test protocol and all the delivery of the competition. So we had 10 match days to deliver with 9 matches per match day. So 90 matches happened and absolutely no match was even postponed. So 90 matches, now we have 7 and in 2 stadiums only, and with good facilities for clubs to get ready for this thrilling competition. So concerns, yes, but addressed again with responsibility and no ups and downs. So make it smooth.
And you've already spoken about it. A competition in a scenario as unprecedented as this brings its own unique set of challenges. I mean, if you had to break them down, what have been the biggest challenges you faced putting this tournament on?
The quick answer on where clubs could prepare themselves in a small territory, because as much as if you enlarge the territory, you enlarge the risk of contamination. So to deliver the best possible solutions that could fit each club as a unique club, and with UEFA's experienced team and with the team of Portuguese Football Association that has mainly more experienced people, but mainly 2 guys that were actually UEFA senior staff till one of them, Danny, was within UEFA's team as head of events till 2015, and Carlos Lucas also till 2009. So they are all quite experienced, and they can think with the UEFA's way of delivery also. And I think they deserve the credit, because I also assume that UEFA decided to hand over this process to Portugal because of their experience.
Yeah. And Portugal, you hosted the Nations League final as recently as 2019. I mean, even that feels a world away now, given what's gone on. But can you compare the learnings from that tournament and apply it to what you're doing now, or is it just a completely different set of rules that you're having to abide by?
To be honest, no. To be honest, as you said, it seems like a different world. So I don't know if we will ever go back to that scenario again. We don't need to address that now, hopefully. But the worry is the kind of things that so now it's only in handcuffs. It's like to deliver service to the teams. They are our clients from day one till when they arrive in their countries, and we all know that players would love the fans to be on the stands, coaches, referees, sponsors, broadcasters, administrators, and we need to live with that responsibility. We need to play more, give more to broadcasters. We need to be closer to each other, even in this new world. So we're going to deliver different things than that we've done in the Nations League, because football is different now. I imagine, I'm not a TV director, but I imagine that they themselves have challenges. So how do you show a match with no fans? I think we now need to also to learn how to deliver an entertainment program with a football match that has no fans on the stands. And to tell you the truth, I didn't see yet that new way of showing till the time we need to have no fans on the stands, that none of us knows till when this will happen.
Yeah, and I mean, focusing on the actual events themselves, the specifics, the health protocols and the other safety regulations you've got in place, how exactly will those work? And have you looked to other examples from other leagues, like the Bundesliga, for example, which were the first major league in Europe to get back to playing? How will you execute those?
Yeah, the medical protocol was defined by UEFA and obviously validated by the Portuguese health authorities that at least till today didn't manage badly with the pandemic. So, and as I told you, as our league was delivered properly, then to tell you the truth, the protocol is not, it's not very different from the one we've used for to resume the matches, and also not too much differences between ours and the Bundesliga or even in England or in other countries. I think they are all quite similar. And then there's again the word that we started with, responsibility of the individual players, because players cannot live alone till the end of the day. So they need to get on with their lives, and so they need to be responsible and knowing that their activity is being allowed as for nobody else. So players play with no individual protection and in close contact for 90 minutes. And today in the world, that's not permitted to anybody else. So to be in close contact without protection, only your family at home. So no other activity has this kind of authorization. So we need to be responsible, even if their testing protocol is quite hard. But that's the thing that you give to the authorities for them to allow you to do something that they do not allow to anybody else. So the challenge is to skip to the protocol and continue with it from day one to the last. And it's proving to be effective. Germany, Portugal, Spain, England, all the competitions that started had an end with a protocol.
And given the obvious restrictions on the event, there are going to be no fans, or certainly very limited opportunities for fans for inward travel, fan zones, sponsor villages, and things like that. I mean, you've talked about creating a good product for fans, certainly to watch from home. But from a commercial perspective, where are you looking to get value from hosting the tournament?
Well, we had some studies that show us from a private university that show us that these 7 matches have a positive impact of over 50 million directly on the Portuguese economy. The final of the UEFA Champions League 2014 that we've organized in Lisbon had a direct impact of 47 million. So, okay, now you need 7 matches to have the same impact of 1 match in the previous world without COVID-19. But from an image perspective for the country, I think it's good to show that we could manage to help UEFA to deliver the most popular competition in the world club-wise. And I'm 100% sure that if we do this properly, in 100 years' time, in school books of history, they will speak about this pandemic and they will say that football-wise, the most important competition in the world was delivered in Lisbon and in Portugal. And I cannot tell you how much does it mean for the country.
Yeah, you can't really put a price on that, can you?
Yeah. If you give a fan a money can't buy experience in a stadium, so what's the value for a fan to be on the locker room of the players half an hour before they are there? That's priceless. The money can't buy. So I assume that 90% of the delivery of this competition in Lisbon and in Portugal will only be calculated many years after.
Help us spread the word about the SportsPro podcast. Subscribe, like and share our content on social. Join the conversation on Twitter with the hashtag SportsProPod. And if you're enjoying our work, why not leave us a rating and a nice review on your podcast platform of choice. And if you want to get in touch, you can send us an email, podcast@sportspromedia.com. The SportsPro podcast. We're listening too.
And away from the Champions League, focusing on some of the rest of the FPF's activities, it's been nearly a year since the launch of Canal 11, your in-house channel. I mean, it sounds almost a redundant question to say what impact COVID-19 has had on its output, because I think that's a given. But what are the channel's future broadcast plans, in the short term and indeed the long term? Are you looking to secure more media rights, for example?
Well, we could spend an entire afternoon speaking about that concept. The channel is, I don't know in other countries how it happens, but here in Portugal we have some concerns on how the football was being treated, and as an association we had this thought: football is quite expensive, so fans to see, we have 3 channels, premium channels that air football: Champions League, Europa League, the National League, and then top 5 leagues. So we need to buy three different channels, and it's quite expensive for an average family in Portugal. So what we found is that you're asking for people to have a high involvement with this sport, a high financial involvement. And the result was quite obvious. So you have, a huge financial involvement with a low number of people. And if you think of a concept, and I try to be a concept person, high economic involvement with a few people, it's golf, it's not football. Football is right the opposite: low financial involvement with a lot of people. And so we thought that the way to do it was to deliver a cable TV, but free, so in the basic package of every fan in Portugal, and to show all women football, futsal that we try to promote a lot, and all the youth competitions and non-professional competitions. The result was huge, very interesting, close relation with coaches, players. They see our channel as theirs, because now there are coaches analyzing the matches, everything that you see. And at least here, but I think that in Western Europe it's quite normal, maybe not as much in England. People tend to see the match by the eyes of the referee. So what did the referee influenced or not the match? Not too much on what was the idea of the coach, of each coach for a match. So we tried just to put the discussion on the right track. The influencers of the match are not referees, are players and coaches, and we will do that. So we didn't, to answer directly to your question, we were not born to buy rights. We were born to show football and to make our channel an instrument for more boys and girls to play football. It's quite simple. Because a country like Portugal, we have 10 million people, and the third worth participation relation in sports in Europe. So we will not be 20 million in a few years' time, and we cannot afford to lose Ronaldos. Maybe other countries can. So we need to grab them all. Otherwise, a country with 200,000 registered players today, as we speak, we are European champions in football, we are European champions in futsal, we are world champions and European champions in beach soccer, and we are title holders of the Nations League at the same time today. So for a country of 10 million people and 200,000 registered players, I call this efficiency. Low resources, huge results. Our channel was born for that, to show that we are efficient, and boys and girls need to see football, not only the mainstream football, the big leagues, our league, but they need to see, I would say, free and amateur football, women on the air. That was the main goal of the channel. But a powerful instrument. We could either climb the mountain of the marketing budget, or assume that football is the perfect content marketing for an association.
Yeah, and focusing on infrastructure, how important is the City of Football? I'll leave you to give it its proper Portuguese translation. I'm not going to butcher it for you, but how important is the City of Football complex going to be for Portuguese soccer's future? I mean, especially given it's some top flight games have been played there, for example, when the league resumed.
Yeah, the City of Football was quite. It's a dream of decades, and we've opened it in March 2016, more than 100 years after the National Association was created. What happened is that and we had a team preparing here for the Euro under 17. They were the first ones to put their feet on the City of Football in 2016, and they won the Euro under 17. And 1 month later, Portugal went into the Euro in France and won it also. And then we won the Euro under 19. So what I think is that obviously for all the process, as we have also the headquarters of the Portuguese Football Association here, we are all linked with each other. So to answer you directly, the coaches don't like me to say that because they always say the City of Football doesn't win matches. And I know that players do, but this is quite a help for them here and in many other countries in Europe that have similar infrastructure. So I assume that tomorrow, when the Manchester City players land here to start their preparation for the Champions League Final 8, they will find a perfect facility with everything they need, nothing that Bernardo Silva cannot tell them because he's quite used to get fitted here for the national team matches.
You've quite rightly mentioned all the success that you've had with all the different national teams at different age groups. I mean, from an executive standpoint, I mean, you talked a lot about sort of Portugal punching above your weight given your population and things like that. What would you say bigger associations can learn from what the Portuguese Football Federation has been doing over the last few years?
Probably nothing. I can share with you the vision here. The vision here was and is knowledge. It's quite strange to associate the word knowledge with football. But actually, if I have less population, if I have less players, if I have less clubs, if I have less resources, there is something that I need to have more than the others, knowledge. And that was our main investment. So we've created, again, we could be here for a day. We've created a unit of investigation. We have 11 or 12 PhDs today, full time. We've created an university, Portugal Football School, and we invest a lot in knowledge, scouting-wise, coaching, everything. And you have a school of Portuguese coaches nowadays. I know it's quite more easy to get in football coaches courses in other countries than in Portugal, but okay, you have many Portuguese coaches. Probably, I don't anticipate who will be the last 32 in the next edition of Europa League and Champions League. But I know for sure that Portuguese coaches, if not, they will be top 3 in the number of coaches involved. So it means that you get knowledge in football from coaches. If Portuguese coaches are good, then they will probably be in bigger clubs or in clubs that can play final tournaments. And so I would say that to answer directly, they will not learn anything, because we all know almost the same things, and I don't feel myself or FPF better than any other. I would say that what I feel that distinguishes us is that we put more money in knowledge than others. Mainly, that's probably the difference that Portugal tries to develop. We know that we will not, this never happened in the past, so the same country, today it's the 10th of August, be reigning champion in futsal, beach soccer, football, and have the title also of the Nations League. So we have all the titles at this moment, and this doesn't happen always in your life. So we need to keep promoting talent. We know that sometimes we will not win, sometimes we will, and so that's what I would say differentiate. The most differentiated thing that we have is knowledge, the investment that we do in knowledge. And okay, we spoke a lot about our channel, but I'm not aware of the existence of a football federation that also owns an university. And that's a very spectacular project also.
Well, best of luck for the tournament and for the future. Tiago, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this.
This is the SportsPro podcast.
Fascinating stuff. Thanks, Ed. And that is all for this week's edition of the SportsPro podcast. I've been your host, Tom Bassam. I'd just like to thank our guest, Portuguese Football Federation CEO Tiago Craveiro, and invite you all to return next week alongside our regular host, Owen Connolly. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.
The SportsPro podcast is published by SportsPro Media. The producer is Ed Dixon.